Well, I wouldn't say it exactly like that. But and I'll say it in the way that Srila Guru Maharaj said it, because the reason I've mentioned this before is we had some connection with Krishna consciousness before coming in connection with Srila Guru Maharaj. So we were inclined to think in a particular way. And it was clearly identified by him. It's one in which, and it's a legitimate perspective. It's not to dismiss it or to deny it. It's a legitimate perspective. But we were seeing Krishna in the primary position, and Radharani secondary, everyone else secondary. Mahaprabhu, whoever, we saw Krishna in the primary position. Because we can say Krishna in the center, that would be misleading, because Krishna is always in the center. But about primary and secondary is where the significance comes. So we, how do you say, had gathered certain Siddhantic understanding up to the point of coming in connection with Srila Guru Maharaj. And by inquiring from him and revealing to him how far we had conceived, he began to adjust us. So previously, we would hear the Bhagavad Gita sloka as an example. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudev sarvamiti samahatma sadurlabha. So the way we took it, no, after so many births, someone who's actually wise and in knowledge, they'll realize that Krishna is the source of everything. But we sort of left it at that. We didn't develop that idea so much. But Guru Maharaj, coming in connection with him, he'll say, yes, Vasudev. We'd heard Prabhupada say this, but we never realized the profundity of it, saying, Krishna alone. So Guru Maharaj said, yes, they'll come to the point of realizing Krishna is everything. But who is that Krishna and what is the nature of that Krishna needs to be further refined and developed. So Vasudeva in this sense means Krishna alone. Now Srila Guru Maharaj, he will point out that we know Krishna is never alone. Like we heard Prabhupada say so many times, king means queen, ministers, subjects, kingdom, everything that goes with being a king. So simply mentioning king, all these other things are implied and understood. So Srila Guru Maharaj would say, so we say, yes, that Krishna, he's everything. But what is that Krishna? And what is his nature and delineation? So if we look back to the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which I like to say is the book of Krishna. Right? It's the book about Krishna, of understanding Krishna perfectly. Right? And begins with this conception, Advaya, Vedanti Tattva Vidas Tattvam Yajganam Advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabhyate. So they're saying here, being said, revealed, there's only one substance, and that's Krishna, right? This Advaya again. There's only one thing to be known, and this echoes what's expressed in the Upanishad, Yasmin Vigyate Sarvam Eva Vigyatam Bhavati, etc. Try to know that one thing, upon knowing which everything becomes known. Right? Yathataror Mula Nishechanena Tripyanti Tatskanda Bujo Prashaka. Later in the Bhagavatam, water the root, put food in the stomach. But what is the nature of this one, this Advaya again? Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Right? Like in Gita, Krishna says, in one place he says, Vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo, but he also says, what is it? there's so many, Tri Vidyamam Somapaputa, no, that's another one. Anyway, he uses the expression Trivedi, Trivedi, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjana. You know the first line? It has to do with Trivedi. Anyway, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjana. He's saying the Vedas deal mainly, Triguna, no, I can't think of it. Anyway, he says the Vedas deal mainly with the modes of nature. Right? Nistraigunyo Bhavarjana. So try to go beyond this, Arjuna. That is a hint at the Nirguna plane. So, elsewhere, Srila Guru Maharaj says that they primarily deal, Vedas, of which Krishna is saying, Vedaishya sarva aham eva vedyo. If you're reading all this properly, you'll come to my conception. Right? Just as we told the example that Vedas are the tree, Vedanta is the flower, and the Bhagavatam is the fruit. Nigama kalpatur galitam palam, shukamukharam ritradava samyatam. Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. So that Krishna, who's to be known by all these things in three aspects, Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. So Bhagavan, in earnest, Bhagavan proper means Krishna in the company of his potency. When we say Akila Rasamrita Murti, by extension we can understand Lakshmi Narayana Vaikuntha, that's Krishna, but in this particular aspect, expanded in this particular way. So Bhagavan must begin where there's not Krishna alone. So Vasudev Sarvamiti is the beyond the Triguna plane, going toward the Nirguna world. Krishna alone, Guru Maharaj said, is a distant conception. That's the only place where you can conceive Krishna alone, is at a distance. As Everest, the highest peak of the Himalayas, you see it from a distance. Begin to make your approach. As you come nearer, you come in connection with so many subordinate peaks surrounding Everest. So preceding thing, Krishna alone, like, how do you say, shallow depth of field. Right? Like in photography, of infinite depth of field and a shallow depth of field. Shallow depth of field focuses on one person, the one image, everything else is blurred. But infinite depth of field, everything is in focus. So, as we approach Krishna conception, we have Kintu Prabhoya Priya Evatasya Bande Guroshi Charanarvindam Sakshad Hari Tena Samasta Shastrai. So, Sakshad Brajananandana Hari, Sakshad. So, in this conception of Guru, we're told, in the beginning, the focus is Krishna. It's the shallow depth of field. But on a closer examination, a more refined conception, it shifts to his potency. Kintu Prabhoya Priya Eva Tasya. So, and if we say that, the goal of all of this is bhakti, devotion, devotional service, how will that be rendered? Directly to Krishna. We'll be reporting directly to Krishna. Krishna will be directly telling you how to serve him. Or through his agency, Shakti Shaktiman, right? Through the predominated moiety, in the words of Saraswati Thakur. Predominating Krishna, supreme positive, predominated Radharani, supreme negative. So, supreme served Krishna and the supreme servant, Srimati Radharani. And if we take it, like indicated in the beginning, Janmadyasya yataha, Adi rasa, Mukhya rasa, Madhura rasa is Adi rasa, the Mukhya rasa, the principal rasa, from which all the other rasas are springing. Then it is the ultimate service. And from the ultimate personification of that, Srimati Radharani, Mahabhav Swarupini Radha Thakurani, we can understand by inference that all service is also coming from her. Right? So, Yadamiyam Mahima Sri Bhagavatam Katayam Pratipatam Anubhutam Apya Labda Avideya Tad Akila Rasamurti Shama Lila Avalambam Madhura Rasadi Sri Radha Para Padmam Prapadye. Shama Lila Avalambam, in particularly the Shama Lila, Madhura Rasa, is solely, wholly dependent upon her. Guru Maharaj says all other rasas are clients of the Adi Rasa, Mukhya Rasa, Madhura Rasa. All other rasas are satellites. It is the original. And she is the Ujjvala Rasa Acharya. So, the shift in the Guru conception from Krishna to the potency of Krishna, right? From Krishna to Srimati Radharani. And we say Baladev from Shanta up to Vatsalya and Radharani Madhura Rasa. But Srila Guru Maharaj mentions this sort of evolution in his conception. He gives himself as an example that on the time of the Vyas Puja of Srila Saraswati Thakur, that Professor Sanyal, he said in his either his written offering or spoken, he said that our only, try to whisper, our only concern, his prayer to Saraswati Thakur, he said, our only concern is with you. We have no direct concern with Krishna. And taking Guru as Radharani's delegation, he's saying, you're everything to us. All we know is you, our whole connection is with you. But because you will bring us in connection with Krishna for some service, then that's a possibility. Right? This is also echoed in the sentiments expressed by Raghunath Das Goswami in the Vilapa Kusumanjali. And he's the Prayojan Tattva Acharya, who's indicating what is our ultimate concern, or Prayojan sometimes translates as necessity. What is our real necessity? Right? Is her connection, Krishna connection through this agency. Guru Maharaj is quoting Gopal Bhatta Goswami in Sri Guru's Grace, saying, not Radhe Vrindavana Dishe Koranamrita Vahini, but Govinda Balabe Radhe Prarteye Tamahung Sada. That Krishna is saying, you want a connection with me? That's not my department. You have to go, to the department of connections. That's Srimati Radharani and her group. Right? They arrange all connections with me, all service to me. They know what is service to me. But I mentioned Das Goswami, his sloka, what does it say? Sakaya me mama namostu nityam, dashayate mama rasastu satyam. Here, the sakya, the sak word means, it's an allusion to intimate service. And he's saying, that is worshipable to me. The Prayojan Tattva Acharya, right? Rupa Rati, Rupa Raghunath, the Prayojan Tattva Acharya, is saying, that is worshipable to me. That is not my immediate concern. I am directed toward dasya. This is also indicated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the famous sloka where Srimati Radharani is searching for Krishna. And she says, be, kind to this servant of yours. So they also, interestingly, conceive of themselves as, in this sense, as dasya rasa servitors, but only out of genuine necessity, Krishna's necessity, are they brought into any other type of seva. So, Guru Maharaj is also told that Shraddha, faith, is the halo of Srimati Radharani, as well in his interpretation of the Indra sloka, Deve Barshati, of the Brahma, Brahma Vimohan Leela, Nomi Jite Brahma Puse Taridam Baraya, Gunjava Tangsa Paripichila Sanmukhaya, Nomi Jite Vapuse. You have a form that's Shama Megha, like Ganasham, the dark like a cloud. Taridambaraya, but you're wearing a lightning dress. And that lightning dress is giving illumination to your form, which is very difficult to see. So Srila Guru Maharaj interprets the lightning dress as Hladini Shakti, as Srimati Radharani. She is revealing Krishna. And what does it mean substantially, Krishna? Service to Krishna, the service connection to Krishna. So, it's in one sense only natural that Krishna will be of immediate interest, and focusing on Krishna will seem to blur everything else. But as Guru Maharaj guides us, on a closer scrutiny, the shift will go towards the potency of Krishna. Radharani and her serving group, they will see, they are illuminating Krishna. They're revealing Krishna, and they're revealing service to Krishna. So, Srila Guru Maharaj, and mentioning his own self as an example, he said that with Krishna's reputation as an enjoyer, he wasn't so much attracted to him as a personality. This has to be understood very cautiously and carefully. But he was rather attracted to Srimati Radharani and Mahaprabhu because of their self-sacrificing, self-dedicating tendency and nature. And then after so many years, in his final days, he said, recently some attraction has awakened for Krishna. He said that, recently. And he said, he qualified it also by saying, because I know that Krishna is favorite to Radharani, and all this seva that she is transacting is for the service of Krishna. So naturally, one's her grace will have to have a favorable outlook of Krishna. So it is a peculiar thing but we see that there are different groups of devotees. Those who favor Krishna more, those who are equally disposed towards Radha and Krishna, and then the special group who are exclusively dedicated to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And they are our Guru Varga. They're exclusively devoted to the service of her holy lotus feet. Like the appellation of Srila Saraswati Thakur, Sri Barshabhanavi Devi Daita Das, indicating him to be an exclusive, fanatical follower of hers, which is in the line, is the Rupanuga line, the line indicated by Raghunath Das Goswami, as we heard when he's surviving on buttermilk that's brought to him in a leaf cup. And buttermilk in India looks like whitewashed water. It's not a very desirable beverage. It just looks like water with little cloudy water. Because it means after you take out all the butter, everything from the milk, what's left is like milk water, but it's called buttermilk, right? But there's no butter in it, there's no milk in it. So that's why that will be given away to beggars easily. They can always count on getting that because it's of little value. So that's what Das Goswami is, his subsistence is on this. Right? And one day it's brought to him and the leaf plate cup, he doesn't recognize. It's different than what he normally receives. And he asks someone, where's these leaves? Where do they come from? And they responded, Saki Stali, which is the place of Chandravali and her group, who are the opposition of Srimati Radharani. Hearing that, he threw the leaf cup away. He couldn't tolerate it. That's all he's living on. He'd rather not. Right? That type of intense loyalty and sentiment in the heart. So, and we find it echoed in the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and reverberating in the heart of Srila Saraswati Thakur. In one of Bhaktivinoda's songs, he says that I don't like to look at the faces of, he mentioned Shaibya, Padma, the assistants of Chandravali. He said, because they're always scheming to capture Krishna, and this will cause unhappiness in the kunja of Srimati Radharani. So I don't like to see even look upon their faces. And Guru Maharaj said when sometimes Srila Saraswati Thakur would have the devotees sing this song. We know also in the last few months of his life, Jajavar Maharaj was singing certain songs for him. That Guru Maharaj saw when this line would come about Chandravali and her group, Saraswati Thakur's body was jerked, like his heart was being struck by that thing. So it's only an indication to us how deep are these divine sentiments. Right? So to rephrase this now, and reframe it, when Srila Guru Maharaj will say, our attention is solely with her, Radha Dasyam. This is what is being announced by Das Goswami. It's also given by Sanatan Goswami and Brihad Bhagavatamritam and Rupa Goswami. The service of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Sri Radha Pada Padmam Prapadye Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The last one. Sri Radha Parasevanamritamaho Taddatumisho Bhavan. Guru Maharaj saying, this is the gift of Bhaktivinoda Thakur to the world. So then we reconceive Krishna consciousness. I've mentioned, to underscore this point, Krishna is not Krishna conscious. We say this is the Krishna consciousness movement. It's all about being conscious of Krishna. So then I will say, Krishna is not Krishna conscious. This will be on the front of the newspaper. Krishna, not Krishna conscious. You know. On the internet, it will be there. Krishna, not Krishna conscious. Investigation to follow. Right? Because he's Krishna. Govinda Mari Purusham Tamaham Bhajamin. He's the Purusha. He's the predominating moiety. He's the supreme enjoyer. Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheswaram. That Krishna, he's Akila Rasamrita Murti. He's Rasaraj, Krishna. Right? Who's the personification of Krishna consciousness? Is Srimati Radharani. Right? And Krishna realizes that he can't be Krishna conscious the way he is. He can understand theoretically, but as the supreme enjoyer, he cannot relish Radha Bhav. Right? Sri Radhaya Mahima Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanayeva Shadyo Yenadbuta Madhurima Kidrisham Somadiya Sokyam Chasha Mad Anubhavata Kidrisham Veti Lobhat Tadbhavadya Samajani Sachi Sindhu Garba, Sachi Garba Sindhu Harindu. 3 reasons, right? Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima. The greatness of the love of Srimati Radharani. He wants to experience that. Ashradya Yenadbhuta Madhurima. To taste the sweetness of Krishna, the way she tastes that sweetness. And Tadbhavadya, the ecstasy. Radha Bhava Duty Subolita. So Krishna enveloped by the heart and halo of Radharani. Right? Guru Rupa Hrim Gauram Radha Ruchi Ruchavritam. The Guru Rupa of Krishna is Gauranga. Right? Radha Ruchi Ruchavritam, covered by the heart and halo of Radharani. Then from that position, he can experience all of these things. Hare Krishna. The first time I saw a temple in 1969, it said, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Temple. This is in Haight-Ashbury. And I saw that. I thought, that's interesting. I went inside, and later, not a little bit later, maybe a year later, so they had the Krishna book. And Prabhupada says in the beginning, he says, when people see a book like Krishna, they will say, who is Krishna? Who is the girl with Krishna? It's that simple. I heard Radha Krishna Temple. I know this is very interesting. Normally you would think God, the way we've conceived him up to, he'd be in the first position, and probably that's it, right? And others would be known in connection with him. But here it was Radha and then Krishna. Radharani first and then Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, as Guru Maharaj told, he realized this was a revolutionary, world-changing realization for him. He knows Sanyal is one of the senior devotees. And he's a professor. He's considered to know the Siddhanta of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And he's saying, we only know you. Without Radharani, there's no Krishna. Right? Guru Maharaj once said, he said, Krishna without Radharani is half Mayavad. He said that once. He said also, Krishna without Radharani is just Brahma. Or as Das Goswami again says, Bororu Bakarinapi, Bakari, the demon killer. Right? Not a very enchanting, charming form. Ashavare amrita sindhu mayi katanchit kalo mayati gamita kila sampratam hi tam chet kripam mayi vidasha srinaiva kimme prane brajena chabororu bakarinapi. Saying my aspiration is Radha Dasyam. That's why I live, aspiring for the service of her holy lotus feet, without which none of these things are of any value to me. My life, what's more valuable than my life? Vrindavan. And what's more valuable than Vrindavan? Krishna. So generally we'll say Krishna is Vrindavan is the land of Krishna. Right? Who's going to argue against that? But Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in his song, how do you know it's really Vrindavan? Radha Padman Kitadam Vrindavan Dharanam. Vrindavan proper is the soil that's enriched with the holy lotus feet, embellished with the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Right? It's more beautiful, more substantial. There's a prayer of Brahma and a prayer of Uddhava seem to be identical. They're very similar. Brahma's Tadburi Bhagyam, Ihajanma Kimbapyatavam, Yadgokulepi, Paramangri, something, I forget that. Anyway, he's praying to be a creeper, a blade of grass in Vrindavan, so he'll get the dust of the Brijvasis upon him. And we can say, well, oh, that's just like Uddhava's prayer. In a general sense, it is. But if we refine it and look at it more closely, it's not the same as Uddhava's prayer. Because Uddhava says, Asamaho charanarenu jishamahangshang Vrindavane kimapi gula latosadinam yaddushjam swajanam arja patam chihitva bejur mukunda parivim shrutibir vimrigyam. What the Vedas are searching for, Trigunya Vishaya Veda, nice Trigunya Bhavarjana, that's what it is. Tri-Veda. What they're searching for, these gopi girls of Vrindavan possess. So Uddhava, he's praying for the dust of the lotus feet of Radharani and the Braja Gopis. So his request is more specific. And actually, he wants the dust from their lotus feet. But he knows, since he's Uddhava, and he's an important personality from Dwaraka, confidant of Krishna, and these girls, they're simple, half-civilized jungle girls. They revere him. They would never give the dust from their feet. They would consider that offensive. So he knows he doesn't have a prayer, a chance. So instead, he says, well, if I became a blade of grass here, then I could get the dust from their lotus feet. Because I know they won't give directly. And in the end, he's praising that feet dust. Bande Nanda Brajastrinam Pararenum Abhikshnasa Yasam Harikato Gitam Punati Bhuvanatayam. So, I said before Gurudev in praise of him on his Vyas Puja once in Navadvip, and I'm quoting Srila Guru Maharaj, I said, we are so dependent upon Guru and factor in as Radharani's delegation, that concept of Guru. I said that if Krishna himself comes before us, we will ask our Guru, is this Krishna or not? And Gurudev, he went, he started clapping loudly, like, yes! That's how dependent we are. And he said, no, but Krishna's Guru. It's a hint at some other. No, through her and her group, they identify who is Krishna substantially, and particularly Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ete Changsa Kalak Pungsa, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. Right? Guru Maharaj says that in his telling, this is from Sutta, this particular verse, because he's telling what Sukadev told. Now we're with the sages in Naimisharanya. So he's telling what he heard Sukadev Goswami tell Parikshit Maharaj, but he realized, and mentioning the different avatars, because Krishna and Balaram are included there, he thought, maybe they will think that they're just even Steven, all these avatars. So he says, Ete Changsa Kalak Pungsa Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. That Krishna, he's Swayam Bhagavan. And Guru Maharaj said, when is he Swayam Bhagavan? At the right hand of Radharani. That's Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. At the side of another gopi, at the side of, it's another position. But the original Krishna. So only she's Mahabhav Swarupini. She can extract fully the nectar of Krishna, the rasa of Krishna. Hladini Shakti Pushti Karan. In this way she's nourishing all the devotees. And Krishna Devi Krishnamayi Prokta. Guru Maharaj explains Krishnamayi meaning not that wherever she casts her glance she sees Krishna, but wherever she casts her glance generates Krishna. That's quite another thing. As if she's producing Krishna. And as far as the devotees are concerned, that's true. So you only get full Krishna at the right hand of Srimati Radharani, at her side, in her presence. So by analysis, we can say, oh, these servitors of her, they're so tactful. and they've created and strategic in their target, their goal. But out of gratitude, Srimati Radharani is sharing Mahabhav with them, which is beyond the constitutional capacity of a jiva to taste or experience. Even my direct connection with Krishna. By a jiva soul directly interacting with Krishna, they cannot taste what they can experience in Radha Dasyam. Krishna consciousness is mysterious and works in the inverse. We hear in that Rath Yatra that we just read, in certain circumstances, Krishna, when he sees Srimati Radharani in some particular ecstatic condition, the beauty of her face, her smile, etc., it's indicated there. It gives him joy 1,000,000 times greater than union with her. So Krishna consciousness is measured in the inverse. It's very mysterious. So a greater wealth comes to jiva in service to the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, Radha Dasyam. And as Guru Maharaj indicated in his poem, Aho, Sri Radha, Pada Padma, Pada Sevanamritam Aho, Tadda Tumisho Bhavan. Oh, he's saying, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this is your astonishing gift to the world in the form of the Krishna consciousness movement. But any touch is bringing one in connection with what? Kleshagni Subhada Moksha Lugutakrit Sandrananda Visheshatma Sri Krishna Karshini Chitha. Subhadha, giving all auspiciousness. There's another with Mangalam, Sumangalam.
Мне кажется, что когда Рагунат Хадас с вами молится, что «О, Кришна, ты не интересуешь меня, нужно только Радхарани, это одно». Но если неофиты на нашем уровне начинают повторять, кто такой Кришна, меня интересует только Радхарани, это, мне кажется, что это не совсем правильно. Мне кажется, я чувствую в этом некую дух имитации.
It just seems to me that when Raghunadas Goswami is praying, like, what is Vrindavan without Krishna?
No, without Radharani.
It's one thing, but when neophyte like us, say, oh, who is Krishna? It seems
No, that's correct. That's not for us to say. But it is the statement of the Guru Varga. Right. It's for us to make a statement for or against Krishna is just insane. We have no position. But these are the expressions of the Guru Varga. But we have to factor in. Sometimes we hear, like Srila Guru Maharaj mentioned, if Radharani becomes upset with Krishna, sometimes she forbids him entrance into her kunja. That means that one of her devotees will have to tell Krishna he's not allowed to enter. So Guru Maharaj said once, some Saraswati Thakur forbids some devotee entrance into the mat. It was like a senior devotee, and Guru Maharaj, that person came, and then Guru Maharaj thought, he couldn't tell him. So he just showed him the letter. He said, read this. I'm like, I'm sorry. So you may have to give Krishna a letter. It's not me, really. I'm just a neophyte. No, but it's true. Yes, if we imitate the statements, that is just sahajya. And I remember once when we were traveling and preaching in India, outside of Delhi, and we came to some place, and there's some, like babushka lady with her deities, and she's chastising the deity and saying so many things, and then she turns to us, she goes, "I'm very angry at Gopal today," And she has some whole story about his misbehavior. This, so whether that is real or not, So we can believe that Sanatana Goswami is arguing with Madan Mohan. But if we argue with Madan Mohan, we'll be, first of all, just deluded. Secondly, just finished. So, but how this transfers to the neophyte is understood in exclusive dedication to the lotus feet of their guru. That's the parallel. And it's not just some obligatory exclusiveness, but it's sensible and will be beneficial in the long run. It's like there are so many people who, or neophytes, eager to hear confidential subject matter. But if it's not being given by the guru, why should they be eager to hear that? Be eager to hear beyond what guru has given. What is the rationale for that? What compels that? Something divine, descending, or something else? So Srila Gurudev observed these things very carefully. What were the parameters established by Srila Guru Maharaj in terms of what is acceptable, what's not acceptable? And, as you say, if Das Goswami says that, it's one thing. If a neophyte says it, what is it? So, Guru Maharaj, we'll hear, oh, he said this, Guru Maharaj, he's crying out the name of Nityananda. That doesn't mean, we never heard Gurudev imitating Guru Maharaj. So we're told if we imitate the Mahabhagavata, you go down. At the same time, we need to know what the truth is and what is the position of our Guru Varga. We can't say, well, we're just neophytes, so we put all of our emphasis on Krishna and exclude Radharani and Mahaprabhu. That would be offensive and inappropriate. So the shift for the progressive devotee, the shift is from the deity to the devotee. The third-class devotee cannot understand that he'll benefit more from the association of a devotee than through archan. As we find in the case of Kaviraj Goswami, that relative who he's, in the name of tending to the deity, he's ignoring the devotee of Nityananda Prabhu, not receiving him. He doesn't understand the deity wants you to serve the devotee. Right? Guru Maharaj will say, take the permission of the deity and serve the devotee. But the hallmark of progressive devotion is to understand the position of the devotee as being most important. That's how we make progress. Guru Maharaj again gives himself as an example. He said, I thought in the beginning that we're being told, surrender to the Vaishnava Guru. He said, but someday my heart's inner hankering for a direct connection with Krishna will be satisfied. He said, no, but I came to realize in time, the Vaishnava is everything. So you only get a meaningful connection with Krishna through the Vaishnava, who is, by extension, either the representative of Nityananda Prabhu or Radharani's delegation. So the parallel for us is exclusive focus. Yeah.
Ну, по-моему, она на поиске Кришны или какой-то, ну, насколько я понимаю, его идея, что они взаимораскрывают друг друга. Радха и Кришна взаимораскрывают друг друга. В чем смысл шлоки?
Could you explain the sense of this shlokas and explain the connection between these two shlokas?
Well, admittedly, they are mystic. Like mystically encrypted slokas. But just, I think you stated it in the beginning, what we understand is, we could make the case that by our surrender to Krishna and Krishna consciousness, gradually in time, by the grace of the Guru Varga, we came to understand the greatness of Radharani and the devotees, that position. Then by surrender to them, Radha Dasyam, we can understand more substantially Krishna Tattva. They work hand in hand. Remember Ramananda Sanva, where it says, what is it? Radha Tattva, Krishna Tattva, Prema Tattva Sar, Leela Tattva, Rasa Tattva, something like that, Prema Tattva, all these different things. So they do work hand in hand, one revealing the other. But ultimately, our goal is devotion. So it means we need to be under the shelter of the devotees. Right? We say, Guru Krishna Prasadepai, the combined mercy of Guru Krishna. But by the mercy of Krishna, we come in connection with Guru. And then through Guru, we come more to understand who is Krishna. And there's something called Atishayokti, mentioned by Jiva Goswami, that sometimes in Vedic literature, the Bhagavatam and other places, sequence will be reversed because something is so effective, so potent, that the result will be mentioned first. In other words, that it is a concomitant factor, or it's so guaranteed that sometimes the effect is mentioned first and the cause afterwards. And it's mentioned with regard to, in different places, but in regard to one place where it's saying, when one becomes, when one's finished with the material world, then they get the grace of the devotee. And there he says, well, why does it say it like that? Isn't it really you get the grace of the devotee and then by the grace of the devotee give out the world? And he said, yes, that's true. But this principle of atishayokti means that it's so guaranteed when you get the connection of the devotee that the result is mentioned before that. So we can apply that to other things as well, including the Vikriditam Brajabadu Viritam Javishnu slok and other places. But we'll think, by the grace of Krishna, he sent his devotee to me. Like in Emana Durmati Sangsara Vitore. He's sent his devotee to save me. And then what does the devotee tell you? Oh, Mahaprabhu and Nityananda descended in this world to save fallen souls like you. And take us back to home, back to Godhead. But, no less than Krishna, he is saying, my real devotees are those who are devotees of my devotees. But again, devotees here is a general word. We could say that if we specify, we can say that Krishna is saying, my real devotees, those who are devoted to the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, they are my real devotees. Hare Krishna.